Welcome at Encavis again. Today we would like to explain in a more detailed way the structure of our portfolio based on solar and wind farms. Encavis is a solar-dominated company, and we love solar because it's a lot more reliable and much easier to plan than wind farm output. Our intention is to improving efficiency and cost reduction through economies of scale and scope. And how we do this? There are three layers within our business model. Encavis AG, which is the ground layer where we produce energy from solar parks and wind farms all over Europe, 11 countries from the northern part of Finland and Sweden down to the south of Sicily and Spain. We produce energy and sell them via feed-in tariff or PPA, power purchase agreements, directly to industrial companies or tech companies like Amazon Web Service, Google, Microsoft. We have a daughter company, Encavis Asset Management. They are an asset management company. So they run solar parks and wind farms for funds and institutional investors, and they will be paid as an asset manager by origination fee and by a management fee. So the energy the parks produce are owned by the funds and sold by the funds. So this is a complete different business model. And both businesses of the Encavis Asset Management and Encavis AG benefit from our Encavis technical services and the Stern Energy company we acquired some years ago, because they serve the solar parks. Wind farms will be served by the turbine manufacturer themselves because they are so specific. It's a big difference if you have a Siemens Gamesa, Nordex, Enercon, or what you name them, wind turbines. So they will be served by the OEM. But the solar parks, we do the service ourselves and built up a huge experience and know-how over the years. And our technical service serves both wind and solar parks from asset management, as well as the solar parks and wind farms from our Encavis Asset Management. So how does it look in detail? We manage over 300 renewable energy plants all over Europe with an installed capacity of around 3.2 gigawatts currently. So 208 solar parks with a capacity of 2 gigawatts and 96 wind farms with a capacity of 1.2 gigawatt. If you split this into the capacities of Encavis Asset Management and Encavis AG, it's nearly the same. So we have currently 2 gigawatt at Encavis AG, and we have 1.2 gigawatt capacity at the Encavis Asset Management. Split all over Western Europe. Why only Western Europe? We don't trust Eastern European governments, financial systems, regulations, and regulatory issues and stuff like this. And there is a grid connection with most of these European countries, so we could benefit from these interconnectors in between France and Spain, Italy and France, Austria and Germany, the Benelux companies with Denmark, Denmark with Norway and the UK, Ireland with the UK. So this gives us a lot of more opportunities to implement artificial power plants. So to combine solar and wind parks, and maybe in the future with storage technologies to sell energy on a baseload concept to customers in the future. Currently, all of our contracts, doesn't matter if it's feed-in tariff or power purchase, we sell the energy pay as produced. So just to show you why it's so smart to be in 11 countries all over Europe, because there is a natural hedge. And why is it so smart to be in wind and solar as well? On the left-hand side, you could see the seasonal power output of a wind park over 5 years as an example. And naturally, as everybody would have assumed, in the winter months, autumn, October, November, December, and January, February, and March as well, there's a higher output than in the summer. Exactly opposite the case in a solar park. As you see on the right-hand side of the chart, the seasonal output starts to be interesting in March and lasts until September. You see that there is an excellent natural hedge in between wind and solar. A wind park has an higher output than a solar park. So you don't have to have a 50-50 split in your portfolio. If you have a 2/3 or 3/4 in solar and 25 to 30% in wind, it's totally sufficient. Why we focus on wind and solar only, and why we focus on wind onshore only, because you could see for the levelized cost of energy, this includes all costs from the planning, the construction, running a park for 25 to 30 years or even longer, deconstruction and everything else. Solar parks, crystalline PV modules, thin film modules, and wind onshore have the lowest costs of energy production compared to all other systems. And that's why we focus on this. Even if you go on rooftop with solar, it's a lot more expensive. Or if you go with the wind offshore, it's a lot more expensive than the onshore structure. So that's why we focus on this, because in the end, we would like to sell energy subsidy-free to everyone. That's what we do currently with all new parks based on a power purchase agreement directly with tech companies or industrial companies. We sell the energy without any subsidies for a very nice return. Maybe we focus again on the structure of our portfolio. 79% is solar, 21% is wind in Encavis AG. In our asset management, it's completely different, 61% wind and 39% solar, due to the normally larger size of a wind farm compared to a solar park. As you can see here as well, on average, a solar park in our asset management has double the size or more than double the size as in the AG. And a wind farm in general is larger than a solar park. So focused on the portfolio of Encavis AG, we may end up with 75 to 25 or 80 to 20. The future will show where this will go to. It's dependent on the demand of our tech companies, our industrial companies, because they would like to be served during the whole day from us. But the sun is shining only during the day. So if we could add storage technology to a solar park, then you need 3 to 4 times the capacity of your solar park and in storage, that you were able to storage maybe a complete output from a day and to serve them for the rest of the day, your customer. But this is something for the future. So the combination of wind and solar and a storage technology may give us the opportunity to offer a base load contract to our customers. Currently, we sell our energy pay as produced. So the more we produce, the more we will be paid. And this on 10 years on average for a PPA, and up to 20 years on feed-in tariffs in the past. As you could see on the slide, the current average time of our remaining PPAs is around 9 years, for feed-in tariff around 12 years. And then these things have to be renegotiated in the mid of the 30th as well. If you look then to the seasonality of energy production, to us, you see that there is a roller coaster volatility throughout the quarters in every year. And the main reason for this is the weather. The sun is shining for more than 2 billion years from the same direction and in the same intensity. But the wind is depending on the climate change. So normally, as I said, in wintertime, you have more wind, in summertime, more sun. But as you could see in this quarterly view here, that this may change dramatically. So in the first quarter 2020, we had much higher revenue than in the quarter 2021. And as we disclosed a few days ago, in the first quarter 2022, we have skyrocketed revenues compared to these two figures, because the first quarter could be so volatile, not only because of price or volume effects, but especially due to the weather. First quarter 2019, 2020 were very windy. First quarter 2021 had much less wind. This year in 2022, there was also a tremendous wind quarter in Denmark, in Germany, and this boosted the revenue and therefore operating EBITDA, EBIT as well. You see that in summer, the 2 quarters are the stronger ones. And this is due to the solar production in summer, which is always stronger than in the winter quarters. If we then look into these different figures and go into the details on how solar parks and wind farms served in revenue and earnings to the business, you could see that solar parks had nearly the same operating EBITDA margin than in wind farms in the past years. But if they then go down to the operating EBIT margin, you see that the solar parks are more profitable than the wind farms due to the higher depreciation on the wind farms, who normally have a higher capital expenditure necessary to install a wind farm compared to a solar park. Just to give you a rough number, solar park today could be built from scratch, from planning, including the margin for the developer, EPC and everything, we pay in between 600,000 to 700,000 per megawatt capacity for solar park. For wind farm, we are talking about 1.2 to 1.5 million investment per megawatt. So that gives you the reason why the operating EBIT margin in wind farms is below solar parks. And there is a second factor, which is not shown in here, but will be important for the future. Solar park could be run infinitely, because even if the degradation of the solar modules will go down, it's completely written off after 25 years. In some of the solar parks, even after 10 years, the financing is done. And then you produce to marginal and average costs of close to zero energy, because the input factor is for free. This is the same for a wind farm, but a wind farm has to be deconstructed latest after 30 years. It's depreciated after 25 years to zero, okay, but then for technical and safety reasons, it has to be deconstructed. Blades, wind turbine, poles has to be deconstructed. Even the concrete fundamental things have to be renaturated, and after 30 years, it's over. But a solar park may run for 40, for 50, or even longer, and produce energy. And even if the degradation is coming down, then you cash out the park as long as it's possible. Just to show you the benefit of a solar park, here are some figures where you could see this in detail about what you have seen in the overview. But I'd like to show you for the guidance as well, that even for the future, we expect a lot larger input from the solar parks than from the wind parks. But the main topic I would like to show you is on the following slide, and this is over here. You will get today a 30-year warranty of solar module manufacturers with an 85% efficiency guarantee after 30 years. So if there's a guarantee of 85% for the first 30 years, you could imagine that on the first day after the 30 years, it don't fall down to zero. And as we could see from our own parks and experience, even the 85% is calculated too low. We are going close to 88 after 30 years. So they are very, very efficient. And the only thing you have to pay for a park after 30 years is some maintenance, which is neglectable, and from time to time made to exchange one or the other module, but not because it's old, but because there are some other technical issues like hot spots, which is not related to the technology, but to the animals who leave their things on the surface, and then you get a hot spot. So there's a shadow on one spot, and around the shadow it's very hot, and the temperature differences in there something the modules don't like. So then if you have more of them on one solar module, then it may reduces the output. We control this by drone flights twice a year of all solar parks. These drones, they have an ordinary camera, but they have a thermal camera as well to detect these hotspots and to exchange the modules. And it doesn't matter to whom of the manufacturer you look. All of the tier one manufacturer, they offer these 85% guarantee over 30 years. And so you could imagine you could run a park easily for 30, 40 or 50 or even more years to cash it out. That's what I said at the beginning. It could be of interest to combine wind and solar as well with storage technology, because on the left-hand side, you see the profile of the daily use of energy. There's a base load, the gray one. Then there is intermediate load and the peak load, when the highest energy consumption will be in the afternoon. And on the right-hand side, you could see the production of energy. And you see the wind is something which is rather stable during the day with some changes. Natural gas for the future, maybe not so important anymore. Hydro is very difficult during the day. And solar, as you could see, is only available from the morning to the afternoon. So if you would like then to do a peak shaving and getting into a base load structure, the solar energy, which will be produced in advance of the consumption, has to be storage somewhere. What battery technology it will be, it doesn't matter. It has to be stored during the day, and it has to be then reloaded in the morning, in the night, in the afternoon. So the charging and discharging of the battery. This could be a business model for the future as well. And for Encavis, as long as no one is willing to pay a higher price for the energy at night, it doesn't matter. But we are prepared to this in all new parks we acquire, we build ourselves. We have already the permission and authorization to install energy storage systems. We have already the ground and the place and the space for this. And it's only a question of time that we do the first pilot and prototype park to try this. And then for the future, I'm convinced this will be one of the technologies to make sure that even a solar and wind farm IPP could offer a baseload contract to their customers. So thank you very much for your attention. And whenever you have some more questions and are interested in some more details, please feel free to contact us at any time. As long as the sun is shining, the wind is blowing, there's a bright future for Encavis. Thank you very much.
Since you watched this company video until the end, I'm guessing you liked the video. That's probably because we work very hard to create the most engaging and value-added content possible for you. If you're a stock-listed company or corporation and want to find out how we at Seasonality can make a company video with and about you, please email us at community@seat11a.com.